recording? Yes, we are. Okay. So today we are welcoming Kathryn P. Carter, and she is an education consultant, a best-selling award-winning author, creator of the Rockstar Reader Academy, and she is known as the Literacy Whisperer. She's an education consultant, a children's author, a reading specialist, and a speaker. She inspires children to tap into the joy of reading and helps parents to learn strategies to strengthen their children's literacy skills. Wow, I can tell you, I have been so excited to meet Kathryn. And I think it's because I'm sure I've seen one of your books in one of the school libraries that I've worked at. And I'm sure that here in Taiwan.
Well, I'm going to show you the cover. You can tell me if that's the one or not.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Can you show us?
Sure. So this is Lizzie B. This is book one of the series.
Yeah. I'm sure that was it. I'm sure.
Okay. And this is book two, but we'll talk about them.
Okay. And I think I heard that you have one in the coming as well. Like you have one in the making.
Book three. I'm sticking to my writing plan. I'm working on book 3 now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, so I would really love to know, I'd love to know what inspired this series and these books.
So I wanted to write books that would make children laugh. Because being an educator, I was in the classroom for so many years. Children in ages 8 to 12, they're out of those picture books and they need chapter books that they can relate to, that are light, that can make them laugh, and they also help to teach them lessons because they're historical fiction.
Yeah. And there is I have heard that there's not so many books that model having Black kids in them. Like
there are not. There is a gross, I don't even know how to put it. There are not many books that show children who look like me,
right,
doing positive things.
Right, and it's so important. It's so important. So you really are leading the way.
But for everyone, because books, they're windows, you can see out, they're mirrors, you can reflect and see yourself, and there's sliding glass doors where you can go out and see the world. And everyone needs to be able to see them.
And I think it's important for children to recognize that not everybody looks like just you. Like there's so many different skin colors and shapes and sizes and abilities out there. Like it's so important.
Oh my gosh, it is very important. I'm still so excited to hear that you've seen my book.
Yeah, and it's about tolerance, it's about acceptance, it's about all of these.
Exactly. Acceptance is the key. Acceptance and empathy and understanding. So
yeah.
That's my goal.
That's wonderful. And can you tell us a little bit more, like, where did this come from? Like, where did this mission come from? Like, I feel like there's a story there.
Yeah. So when my sons, they're adults now, full grown adults, but when they were little, I couldn't find books that had positive images in them. So I knew that I wanted to write. I had always been a writer when I was a child. I was the kid who rushed home after school and taught my dolls and toys what was going on in school. So I've always been, that's just who I was. So I always wrote in journals and wrote little stories. So I knew that I had to write these books for my sons. Now, I didn't get to do it while they were little, but I did get to fulfill that is the original mission behind
Right.
books.
Right.
And it's based on many of the things that I lived through when I was a child, because
Mm.
the first book is set during the 1960s. Uh,
Okay.
and you can see the cityscape. This is taking place in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
and
grew up there.
that's where you were born, in New York,
I
New
was
Jersey.
born, yes, I was born in
Mm.
Brooklyn, New York, but I grew
Yeah.
up in Newark, New Jersey. Went to public school all the way through.
Yeah.
Proud product of the Newark public school system.
Awesome. Okay, so can you tell us some of the challenges that you faced while you were writing this book or these books?
So initially, the first challenge was getting myself on a writing routine and
Mm.
sticking to it. I knew
Mm.
I wanted to tell the story, but I had to make time in my schedule. I was very busy, a
Yeah.
mother, raising children, teaching school. So there was a lot going on in my life when I first got the idea to write. But I had
Right.
to say, okay, I know I'm a morning person, so I'm going to have to get myself up just an hour earlier so I
Yeah.
can write.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was my biggest challenge, deciding
Mm.
how am I going to do this? How am I going to make time to write the story?
Yeah. And can you tell us like what tools and techniques you use to get yourself up and to keep going with this?
Well, I am a morning person, so I knew
Mhm.
that if I just went to bed an hour earlier, I could get up an hour
Mm.
earlier. So I set my alarm
Right.
clock. I I made it a priority. I didn't
Yeah.
use any other type of tools, but that was my strategy. You know
Okay.
you're a morning person, go to bed a little earlier so you can get up a little
Mhm.
earlier and write.
Mhm. Well, that takes a lot of discipline. And
Yes.
not everybody has that. Not everybody, it's something that you need to cultivate. There's something in yourself. Can you tell us what that is? Like, what is it that you have to find or get in touch with to bring out that kind of discipline in yourself?
Yeah. So for me, I've always been a person who, once I set my mind to do something, I'm going to do it. I'll figure out
Right.
how to do it and I will get it done. Now,
Right.
is it easy all the time? No. Were there times
Mm.
where I wanted to say, no, I don't feel like it? Yes, there were. But
Yeah.
I just had to dig inside myself and decide there were children out there waiting to read my books.
Oh,
So
right.
I had to get myself aligned with what it is that I need to do to write it.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a story that
Right.
I know children were waiting to read. And that's
Mm.
what I tell all of my friends and people who I know who want to write books, and they'll
Yeah.
tell me their ideas. And I'll say to
Yeah.
them, well, you have to get the book out there because there is someone waiting to read your book, and your book is going to save someone's life. So,
Right. Wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Because books are resources, right?
they are resources. They serve so many purposes. Um,
Mhm.
just I, well, I am a reader, have been all my
Mm.
life, but I share this with people who don't always think that they are a reader. And when I've had children who say, I hate reading, I hate books, it's all because they haven't found the right book. That's
Right.
all. They just have not found.
Right. Right. And I've seen this like as a teacher myself with
Okay.
at a school that promoted a reading culture
Hmm.
as a main part of their education.
Yeah.
I've seen this myself, like they say, that they hate to read, but then you
Yeah.
find them that one book that's on a topic that
book.
they and it opens them up. Like it
It does.
opens them up.
It does. But it
Yeah,
takes discipline and a real desire on the adult's part to help
yeah,
that child find that book. You have to
yeah,
talk with the child. You have to figure out what makes your child tick,
yeah,
and
yeah,
go find a book about that.
yeah. It's true. It's
Yeah,
true. It does take a little bit of help and
it
observation
takes.
on the part of adults.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. And going back to what you were saying, it reminds me of something that I saw recently. When you know your why, the how is easy.
When you know your why, I like that. When you know, oh, I have to write that down. When you know your why, how is easy.
Yeah, because you'll just find a way, right?
You find a way. You
Yeah.
find a way. You
Yeah.
do.
And that's what you were saying. That's what you were saying. Like you knew why you had to do this and the discipline came. It wasn't really discipline. It was just knowing your why and just knowing that it has to happen. Like it's gonna happen. It
Yes.
has to happen. I have to find a way to get up in the morning and do it.
Yes. And it took me years because life things were happening, but the thing that really got me to stick with it in 2014, a dear
Mm.
friend passed away, and I
Oh.
said, "Look, life just keeps on going. Either you're going
Mm.
to write the book or stop talking about it. Do something else."
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So, my next question is, with your first book, what help would you have appreciated?
With my first book, I would have
Mhm.
appreciated being a part of a writing community
Oh,
because writing can be very isolating. You're
mm,
alone with your thoughts and your computer, or if you write your stories out in longhand. So it's a solitary thing. But
right.
when with the second book, I had a community of writers around me who would encourage me, and I could encourage them to keep going
Yeah.
and not give up, because you could want to give up, even though you
Yeah.
know what your why is and you know that you want to get it out there. Sometimes it's tiring
Yeah.
because I had to get rid of all of the distractions. I couldn't,
Right.
I wasn't going out to lunch and dinner with my friends, and so
Mm,
I had to really say, this is what I'm going to do with my time.
right.
Yeah,
Prioritize.
exactly.
Mm. And can you tell me, how did you find this writing community? I'm curious. Like, how did you find them, and how do you communicate with them?
So there are different writing groups that are online,
Okay.
either on Facebook or the one that I found was at a local, what do you call it? Continuing education programs.
Okay.
That's where I found it. And they had all of these different activities. One of the activities was a writers group.
Yeah.
All of the people were not children's authors,
Mm.
but they all had books that they were working on in various stages. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a leader,
Hmm. Oh,
and
there's a leader. Okay.
yeah, that's how I found it. And yes, so different different cities and communities, they have continuing education courses, and have these pamphlets that have all of the different classes that are being offered. So
Oh, so the
that's
communities,
how
they offer class, that they have a leader and they
yeah,
have classes. Oh,
yes,
okay.
that's how
What
I
kind of
found.
classes?
Say that again.
What kind of classes?
Oh, they had different. So they had cooking classes.
Oh,
different
things
types
that
of
bring them
classes.
together.
Yes, cooking classes,
Oh,
how to how to knit, how to
okay.
audition to be a what was it? How to audition to do voiceovers for commercials. So they had all
Oh,
kinds of classes.
yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
I see. So it really is community. It's not just talk about writing and everything's about
No,
writing.
it's
It's about
exactly
getting to know each other, helping each other along, like real support in life and writing.
exactly. So you pick the classes
Oh.
that you wanted. I picked the writing class.
And how long have you been part of a writing community now?
So that one I'm not involved with anymore. I'm in a different group now that I found through Instagram, as a matter of fact. And
Yeah,
I've been in this group. It's called the Black Writers Collective. I've
yeah.
been with them. I think this is the third year now I'm with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that relationships within the community are quite tight?
So it really takes a lot of effort to make sure that you
Mm,
stay connected, because when you are everything is online, you
yeah.
really have to make an effort to stay connected. Now,
Build
there are a few
relationships.
programs here at the local library. They
Yeah.
call them, what do they call them? Meetups.
Right.
And they'll have different events at the library, and they have writing groups there as
Yeah.
well. Hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you for educating me on writing communities.
Yes.
I didn't know. Sounds
And it's
amazing.
very helpful. It's very helpful because
Yeah.
people with that desire to write, they just want to help. Now you have to be
Yeah.
careful. Everybody is not always on the same wavelength. So you have to
Right.
decide which group you're going to be with.
Right. Right. Right.
If they're not
Okay.
for you, you have to jump out.
I got it. I got it. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the same with any relationships, right? When you're
Yes.
making any relationships. Yeah. That was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my next question is, I can see that you're giving a lot of benefits to kids and to the people around you by writing your books. But what personal benefits have you felt from writing these books?
Let's see what personal benefit. It is fulfilling a dream that I have.
Right.
It's fulfilling a dream, and to
Yeah.
say, look, I've accomplished this.
Right.
Because if it was easy to do, everybody would write a book.
Right.
So I look at it as a great accomplishment to be able to put something out there that make children happy. So
Yeah.
that's my, because I have a heart for children, always have.
Mm,
And so writing for them, getting them to just igniting that spark for them.
yeah. Yeah. And
That's my,
you're fulfilling your own expectations of yourself,
yes,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Mm. So, I have another question about publishing. Because what I'm coming across is there are a lot of people out there, they want to write a book, and maybe they have written a book, but then they get stuck when it comes to the publishing part. Can you tell us a little bit about the options and how you have published and yeah, how
Yeah.
to publish?
So I chose to go the non-traditional way and to self-publish.
Okay.
And that's because when I first started writing this book, I had a friend whose husband was very successful at self-publishing.
Okay.
So he kind of guided me through the process of what to do, how to
Okay.
get my editor, how to get my cover done, how to find my illustrator.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I chose the self-publishing. And another little, kind of a little selfish reason is because I used to do author events at one of the schools that I worked at many years ago. And we would have author events where we would invite local authors to come in who lived in the community and talk to the children.
Mm.
One year, a woman came, and she is a pretty famous author.
Mm.
I can't remember her name for the life of me now, but she lived in the town, and she was willing to come in and talk to the children in the school. She
Yeah.
brought with her a folder that was about this big, and it was full of rejection letters that she had received from different publishers. And the
Okay.
point that she was making was the importance of editing and revising. And when
Okay.
she showed that to them and held that folder up, like, I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not for me.
Right.
There's another way. And
Yeah.
that was when self-publishing, when I started, it was still pretty new. People didn't have as much confidence in the integrity of self-published books at the time. So
Right.
it's a lot different now. Self-published authors are much more respected, and it takes a lot to do a quality book.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. You really have to find a reputable editor,
Mm.
a reputable illustrator, and I chose to have black and white. I'll show you some of these images. I
Mm-hmm.
chose to have black and white images because
Mm.
the book takes place in the 1960s, and at
Right.
that time, everything was in black and white. We didn't have color television back then.
Right.
At
Right.
least my family didn't. So to find an illustrator that you can work with and that will produce what they say they're going to produce when they say they're going to do it,
Yeah.
it's a big investment,
Oh,
but it's also a big investment when you work with a publishing house. That's an investment
right.
as well.
Yeah. It's true. And how did you find your editor and your illustrator, and how did you?
Well, the illustrator, there's a funny story. So I wanted to use a high school student who was in the district that I worked with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these children, they had tremendous talent, but they
Right.
didn't have a work ethic. They hadn't learned to have a work ethic yet.
Right.
So they would draw these wonderful images for me, but they weren't consistent.
Right.
So I ended up, I was asking everybody. I was a member of a very large church back
Mm-hmm.
in New Jersey. So I was just asking people, who do you know? Who do you know? And I just happened to come across this young man, David James, who is
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic graphic artist. He will
Mm.
illustrate all of my books.
Mm.
Now, some people go the Fiverr route, or that's fine. But
Oh,
for me,
Fiverr. Okay.
I use David James, and my editor,
Mm.
my editor, I had to really do a lot of searching to find someone reputable. And I happened to
Mhm.
meet her on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I saw different authors that she had worked with, whose books she edited. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
who I went with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for telling us and sharing that with us. It's really
Yeah.
valuable. Yeah, people don't know where to find this kind of information about publishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's so much information out there. You have to be so careful because some people are saying one thing and then you find somebody else who's saying the exact opposite.
Right.
So it's been a lot of trial and error for me as well. It's
Right. So you have to accept that you're going to make mistakes or make the wrong
you will
decision at
make
times.
mistakes.
Okay.
You will make mistakes, but there's nothing that you can't come back from.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's a
Mhm.
very helpful, warm thing you just said.
You can recover.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this conversation. My last question
Mhm.
is for any aspiring authors out there, what advice would you give them?
Just do it. You can do it. You have a story within you. You've been inspired to write it.
Mm.
You have to decide what you need to do to make it happen.
Right.
As I said earlier, I knew I'm a morning person, so I knew I had to make space to write in the morning. Some people are
Mm.
night owls,
Mm.
whatever works for you, but just do it. And you don't have to, I'm looking for something. Well, I use this just, you don't have to, oh, I wish I had one of my, oh, here it is. You can start in a composition book.
All right.
Just
Yeah.
writing, jotting down notes. You
Yeah.
can put notes in your phone.
Yeah.
You can put notes in your phone. You can narrate your story in your phone, but
Right.
you have to just do it.
Right. They have those wonderful transcribing, like voice to text tools now,
Yeah,
right?
so much. There's so many things. There's so
Mm.
many resources out there that you really do not have an excuse. The excuse is what you're giving yourself. So
Right.
just get rid of the excuses and do it. That's
Mm.
if it's really important to you.
Right. If the why is strong enough,
If the
right?
why is strong enough, and it's not always that you're going to be on the New York Times best-selling list. It's not.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
that you're getting this personal fulfillment. You're getting your story out there, and your
Mm.
story, like I always tell people, your story will save someone's life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been
you're
wonderful talking to you, and I've learned so much. I really have, and I'm sure that if I've learned something, that people out there are going to be very grateful to hear what you have to say too.
I'm glad. I'm glad
Yeah.
because in the world that we're in, we need to do things that bring love and acceptance to people.
Yeah.
We really do.
Agreed.
Be a
100%.
part of the solution.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yes.
So before we sign off, can you tell us where to find you?
So I have a website, KP Carter Writes,
Mm-hmm.
WRITES, and I can be found on all of the different platforms, Instagram, Facebook. I even have a TikTok account. I've put
You're
me
braver than me.
TikToking recently, but I have one.
Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and all of my links will be in your notes. Correct?
Sure. I will put all of your links in the description to this video.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if anybody out there wants to contact Kathryn and ask her some questions, find out where her books are, then I will put all her information into the description of this video.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And one thing we didn't talk about
What's
really
that?
quickly before we leave is that the reason I'm the literacy whisperer is
Oh,
because I can help children become reading rock stars.
oh,
And so I really, from all of my years of experience, I work with children, I tutor children, and I know what they need. So,
right. Oh, I'm glad you fitted that in.
yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. This has been, I really appreciate your taking the time to speak with me, and I'm very grateful.